Yo, it's been a minute, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. With this Denari guy, I have a lot to say. When I say a lot, I say a lot. Like I want to bring in Thunderbird. I want to bring in a zombie, not a zombie, Aruni. I want to bring in what like Malusi's, all that stuff. Not to say that, well, you already do, or like, bro, what are you talking about? Hear me. I'm gonna make it as simple as possible. I'm going to try, and I will speak fluent, like no mumbo jumbo, no stuttering, all that good stuff, because I genuinely have a lot to say. With this new up, I do feel like he's very good. And I'm not saying like every new op that comes out is good. No, he's good. Here's the one thing I've noticed about him. The one thing I noticed about him is you're not going to be able to do the same site setups. Yes, so that means the same site setup we all used to use, all because of him, things are going to change. You know, there are certain spots you will put a rotation. There are certain spots you will put head holds, feet holds, a rotation, a vault, a crouch, a walkthrough. Any of those things, if you have a trap that's connected or disconnected in any kind of way, it's going to affect the site setup. So, like I said, you thinking that okay, you could just set up site normal and just use him normally like any other operator. You can't, because you would make him literally useless. And let me bring in Kapkan. He is nothing like Kapkan. I say that because two things. One, when it comes to Kapkan, it's mainly like for Kapkan, it's mainly depending on entry. It's like if you're gonna enter, you have to hit this. It's like there's no excuses. Like if you want to enter the building, you have to hit this as a Kapkan. And then two, when it comes to Kapkan, if they know you're a Kapkan, they're gonna shoot and check every doorway. So your best bet is just to hide or don't even put Kapkans in the obvious spots. So put Kapkans in a spot where, it's least expected. Excuse me. Damn, that was a fad. Anyways, back to Denari. He is someone who you don't have to play sight. Hear me, hear me, hear me. It's like, why don't play sight, bro? When I see this guy, I think of Pink Panther. Pink Panther, there's lasers everywhere, and it's just one ruby the lasers are protecting. Just that one ruby. Think about that. Meaning, you don't have to play sight if you're gonna put his trip mines. I'm not gonna call it trip mines because that's kind of like Kapkan. I'm gonna call it trip wires. If you're gonna put his trip wires somewhere, you're gonna obviously not want to have it inside, because once again, you don't have to like it goes to like fundamentals. It's like you're gonna want to put it where you don't need to be watching this spot 24/7. It's like if you're gonna use it like Capcan, why even bother putting it in a spot where you know that you're gonna be watching it. So it's like basically what I'm saying is let the trap do its job. Like I said, kind of like Capcan, but he's nothing like Capcan. Just let the trap do its job. You don't have to sit and like, for example, you don't have to sit here and watch this blue push, which yeah you may, because they can still shoot it, but you don't have to pull your full focus on one spot. So with that being said, with Denari, he's gonna bring. I feel like he's gonna bring like a new step into Siege, where like people just rather chalk everything and just let the gadget do its job, because one or two things will happen. One, you have to expose yourself to shoot the connects, or two, hit it. You know, there's nothing in between of that, because it's. I do like how like when it's not connected, it looks very invisible. Like it's barely visible and it's small. So I do like that. But the only thing about it is like I don't like how like you can actually see it connecting. And that's what was throwing me off. It was like, how can I actually make this player like look like something, you know? So just using my brain and my 2 cents, like I said earlier, you're going to probably have to make sight a bit different because normally you wouldn't have that hole there. You know, it's head holes and it's a mirror. So just to make things a bit different, you know, like sight is gonna probably have to change up. I brought up Thunderbird because just to support Denari, you don't have to play sight. And I have clips that I would show, like, you know, but I just like I ain't gonna lie, it's exciting to talk about this because like I'm not gonna lie, this is kinda unexpected. It's pretty cool. But you're not gonna always have to play sight. It's like you would think sight is quote unquote free, but in reality like you're being watched from like 40 different angles and just you're being dependent on just these tripwires, you know? So it's like when it comes to like trap ops and any trap op, you would always depend on the trap. You would never focus on something when you know a trap is on there because they make it obvious or they'll drone too much and then you'll see the trap and then you know all that good stuff. So when it comes to any trap op, obviously you're not gonna sit there and watch over the trap because the trap needs to do its job. But it doesn't make you invincible that they can't just shoot it or just hit it and not even get killed or not or even get no damage, you know? So it's like it goes or even hacked, you know? So it goes a long way on just trying to be like, okay, bet. If there's a trap up, why even bother focus on this one spot and let the trap do its job? Yes, but you still have to watch over that trap. That's that one part. Now I'm gonna get more into detail. And I assume everyone knows this. With Denari, you can trick your wires. So as you see here, I place one outside, you place one inside, and if they break it, boom. That can be with barricades, it can be with a hard breach, it can be with regular breaches, you know. Just as long as you have it connected, and if they're gonna like basically like trying to like get a entry, this is where you come in, you know? And I honestly want to push more on playing off-site. I haven't spoke about playing off-site in a long time. I think the last time I spoke about playing off-site, I was probably saying like, my other phone fell. That was kind of weird. I don't know why. I'm thinking of Fett right now. I don't know why. I'm gonna probably go watch Fett. I'll watch Fett when I'm done with this video. But, like, the last time I probably talked about offsite was probably like with Rook, you know, even though he's like a 3 armored, 1 speed, he can, you know, absorb damage and shit, you know, but like I would just be like, damn, I wouldn't want to really put too much pressure on Denari and his gadgets because once again, if you're playing them all off-site, they're probably not gonna push that area and just push site. But if you know how to use it right, you can play them off-site and literally still cover site, you know? And that's like adding like, you know, through the floors, through barricades, through any breachable that you can break with a shotgun, you can use it on those as your best ability, you know. Be creative. Um, the most thing I would say about it is like I wouldn't depend on the players, in my opinion. And you may think, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? If I have Denari, I'm not gonna really depend on the players only because the trap is gonna sell them out. And when I say players, I mean my teammates. And when I say sell them out, I mean the enemies, of course. So how can I explain that a bit better? It's kind of like bro, like I said, kind of like kapkan. If you know enemies love to push this spot, the first thing you do when you spawn in, you're running to that spot. You're putting a kapkan. And then you have no worries because you know for a fact it'll be a kill on your belt based on that spot they push from, you know. It could be your sight pick they push at that spot. It can be a easy, you know, rush, you know, all these things Siege comes up with just pushing certain spots for certain sites, you know? And then boom, the kapkan did its job. But now with Denari, you don't really want to depend on like your teammates because your traps are doing it for you. If you want to slow someone down, like slow someone down, your best bet is to bring him to the kapkan. Like I said, with kapkan, they can shoot it, that's it. Hack it, that's it. You know, anything can happen to a kapkan. But with this, it's like if you really want to stop someone in their tracks, you're gonna use strats like this, bro. You're like you're gonna want to be a fucking mastermind. Like you, like I feel like playing him. I kind of feel like Fortnite. Just like the geometry, the editing, you know, all that good stuff. It feels like Fort. But when it comes to Fortnite, that's a bit different. But yeah, that's Fort and all that good stuff. Uh, I think I got some offsite. I don't know, but no, I do know. Lying, I do know. But this, I'm not gonna lie. This is probably my favorite one. When I was talking about playing offsite, really and truly, when you want to play these offsite, you're gonna probably have to play offsite because it's not like okay, site's clear. You don't have to watch site because you know we have tripwires everywhere. You know we're all safe. Yeah, oatmeal. No, you're not safe. Like you still have to guard site. They can still shoot it, EMP it. You know, it's a regular trap. But what the issue is, it makes them get into line of sight to your benefit. And I feel like that's not. I feel like that's the bare minimum with every trap. Like every trap costs you your line of sight. It's like if you see a trap, you're gonna have to peek it. You have to take it. You have to put all your responsibility in that trap. Well, not all of it, but like a little bit of it. You know, like you have to put your best foot forward on this trap because if you don't watch out, it's gonna cost you. So with any trap operator, you have to like pay attention. But like I said, he's no different. But the only thing he's different with is kapkan. Please, I don't want no one to compare him and kapkan. They are not alike, and not even like just like GP. GP is gameplay. Like not even GP. It's like, bro. When it comes to kapkan, like it's so easy and hard just to forget and to remember where kapkans are, you know. But now with this, you know where where the road ends when it comes to Denari, but you don't know how to approach it. So that's why I say he's nothing like kapkan. So it's like I can walk through 4 doorways and the last one's a kapkan trap. Now with this guy, I can really maneuver into sight, but still I'm basically getting guided where to go, you know? Because as you can tell, certain traps, like if you fall into it, you're kind of stuck, you know? And that was like my main thing that I was trying to show. I wasn't really trying to show like how cool it was. I was trying to show if someone really gets past this, how would they react? You know, it's like you can come up on the office table, cool. But once you drop down, you're kind of in a shit situation because now it's like you have to focus on 2 different angles, and then also you have to focus on the traps, and really importantly, the operators who's running around, roaming around, killing your teammates. You know, so it goes a long way on just trying to like set up sight. No, if you're gonna set up sight, set up sight. But if you set up sight, I guarantee you 10 out of 10 sight is not what you think it is, you know? So, and that kind of plays a part on, like I said earlier, you're probably going to have to change up sight, you know? No more default, you know? Like, if you actually want to, like, cover ground with this operator, you're going to probably have to change sight. Because, like I said, certain rotation spots, they do take up the line for it to connect. And it's difficult to honestly, like, try to measure how far it can go. Like I think it's 20 meters. I checked it before I even like try to like do some crazy shit. It's like 20 meters. It's the longest it could go. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie. If you notice, no mi ka. If you don't know who that is, I would call her an R6 player, but she's like an e-sport. She's an e-sport I would say podcaster, but she plays Siege, you know. No, no, Mika, I like her, and I got the Uzi charm. I got the Uzi charm, bro. I got the Uzi charm. I was thinking about getting MJ's charm, but I never really got to it. But then again, I do want to show my appreciation and support to like, especially Uzi, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, I feel like it's like it's like a telepathic uh language we speak, you know. It's like there's certain things I see in his videos that, okay, yeah, he's up to something, you know. Or like, you know, I would just be convinced in my own self that like he probably heard what I said or probably seen what I said. Meaning, long story short, he probably sees my videos because I be posting it on his fucking Twitter account. But you know, like he probably seen like at least like 5 minutes of my videos, at least 5 minutes, you know. But yeah, shout out Ooze, you know. Um, I think that was like the ever like first person I ever actually like watched Siege wise. Uh, yeah. Like on topic. Yeah, I feel like with Denari, it can go a long way. But here is where it gets tricky. Deep breath. The only thing I don't like about him is the way the traps pick and choose who they want to connect with. It's like, I get it, it has a similar range, you know, that's cool and all. But it's like, if I want this to connect a certain way, in a way that I want it to be like a design, why is it letting me connect to three different things by default based on how close or how far or even how connected the other dots are? And when I say dots, I mean the gadget itself. You know, like I've noticed like I'll put like one on one, so it will be two making one straight line. But then again, you use the third one connects to both of them, and it makes a totally different like shape, a totally different obstacle, a totally different, you know, I guess call it figure, you know, which is cool, but it's like I wouldn't say let us control that. In my opinion, no, because how would you control it? Like would you pick which one you want to connect to? Which it makes sense, yes. You know, like when I say connect, I think of Fenrir. It's like you can pick and choose which Fenrir you turn on and off, and then it's remotable, so you can go however far you want to and turn them off and turn them on. But I feel like putting that in uh, a Denari, nah. I don't. I feel like that wouldn't really. Is that the garbage truck? Say what's today? It gotta be like what? Today's not Friday. Get the fuck up, bro. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, like yeah, you know. So it's like that's only my concern. But it's cool that you can't connect them on your own. But it's cool enough that they connect on their own. You know. So it's to be fair. It's a little, you know, controversial, but it's cool enough. Um, yeah, and like I said earlier, but I never really got into it. You're going to have to make sight a bit different. You may think all of this shit is uncalled for. It literally is uncalled for, literally. But what it, excuse me, but what it does, it makes you move freely. And I've been saying this a lot in my videos. It's like, as a defender, I would want to move free. It's like, why am I being scared to move in sight? This is my sight, you know, like, why am I being scared to move around, you know? So it's like, that alone, like, if you can't roam and you're scared, why are you roaming? Just be in sight, you know what I'm saying? But the main OBJ about this topic is I do like the idea, not of the player, of this specific site setup I just did. Because look at it, you know, there's nothing you can do and there's things you can do, but the only way you can do it is what class? line of sight. You have to put yourself out there to shoot them down. That's like with any trap operator. Like, you can say that, oh, I can just shoot the cap cans. Look, Capcan has the most like kills in anything by accident, by default. Look at Thorn. She doesn't have like the best kills in her thorns, but when she does, you trip. You trip balls. So it's like getting killed by a thorn. It's like it's it's not cool. It doesn't feel as jolly. But yeah, I feel like here, like, it looks like it's nonsense, but like I said, they like, what can they do? They can throw nades, they can do this, do that. Yes, but then again, line of sight. You have to put yourself in a line of sight to get these bad boys out the way. And people do like to push printer, so it's like you don't you I feel like people normally put Malusius over there and legions and, like, good old trap ops fenrir's at most, but it's like now you don't have to really worry about your traps getting shot because there's a good way, like, it's a good chunk of time can be wasted just based off using your trip mines. And to add on to that last comment I said a while back, I do like the fact that they don't let you control where they connect to, only because if you shoot one, the ones that's connected to the main point, it won't hurt. It won't hurt you to just to shoot it. Literally, it's just gonna take some time to really digest on, like, where else can you shoot the other one at, because if you shoot a dot where it's not connected to a supportive dot, that first dot you shot, the previous dot won't even take effect because that first dot was just like enough. It's like a decoy, It's like I can break a dot and then still have the sight look pretty deadly, It's like one won't hurt, two won't hurt, three, three might hurt, But if I touched enough on this operator, whoa, pause. But if I said enough, let me talk about Thunderbird. I want to explain why I believe Thunderbird will have, like, a better pick right now. In my defense, this is why I believe Thunderbird will have a better pick rate. And it might not, like, be seen, but, like, I see it. Like, I can't see in the future, but I feel it, so I see it. Anyways, look. With Denari being Denari, you can play off sight. You don't have to put his traps in sight. We get that. I said that. You can like literally put them upstairs if you're downstairs, and then boom, you literally have like 50% of map control. Normally, that was a mumbo jumbo on purpose. Normally, 50% of the map control is based on attackers. It's based on their drones, their util, and the operators. But now with this guy, he can take that 50 back. Like, as soon as the round starts, it's 50-50. But now when the round starts, it's 150. And you may think, why not 100-100? The attackers already have a disadvantage, minus cameras, minus the operators that have cameras. They're already at a disadvantage because it's not their business to be inside the building. And that may sound like cliche, or like that's kind of part of the game, go in the building. Yeah, but the objective for the attacker, the first thing you have to do is try to get in the building, So you're already at a disadvantage, You have spawn peeking, you have runouts, you have all these things that can stop an attacker from getting inside the building. So again, you're already at a disadvantage not getting inside the building. And now, let's just say you survive that. Boom. You have to deal with this guy with 40,000 tripwires, like you're trying to rob a bank, literally. Like, you're trying to rob a bank, and now you have to, like, duck and dodge and prone and crouch and run through these wires just so you can survive. So that's what I believe in any situation. Like from the jump, defenders. I'm not saying defending is easy, but I'm saying that defenders have a better chance of like actually winning most of their games if they look at that. If they look at what I just said, you may say, "What you just say?" What I said was, it's 150% chance the attackers are probably not gonna get inside the building. That's the main thing, because once again, when the round starts, the attackers are already at a disadvantage. Spawn peaks, runouts. It's tough out here for attackers. Now, when you defend, you have all the time in the world to set up. The attackers only got drones, but don't get it twisted though. Attackers can also get that 50% back. So it can always be a 50, 100, or 150. Now, let me explain how the attackers can get 150 on defenders, even including this guy. How can attackers get 150? Easy. Let's just say they don't have map control, because Denari has map control. And let's just say you're playing the best Denari ever, so you can't even walk inside a fucking crack. Everything is just tight, sealed. You have drones as an attacker. You have callouts. Callouts coming from an attack is way different than defending. I don't want to get into that, but it's very different. You have drones. You have callouts. You have operators who can literally hack gadgets. You have operators who can literally breach hard walls. You have operators that can literally give you a pinpoint position on where the enemy is at. And you may think that's the bare minimum. Like you can name Deimos, Jackal, Graham, you can name these operators who can pinpoint your location, Doki, like that's the bare minimum. But how does the bare minimum beat, how does the bare minimum beat the superficial? How? Because once you get the layout of a defender, it's raps, GG's. That's like a playbook, basically. That's your blueprint. That's like if it was cool for enemy teams to scrim against each other before playing in an actual pro game, that's crazy to me, bro. That's like their setup, like their gameplay, their blueprint. So when it comes to defending and attacking, there's a different way on how to approach things instead of just trying to drone and say that I tried. There's a lot that goes into droning. That's the bare minimum, But let's not lose track. The main topic, what this all started. I just wanna, don't mind that fucking flush. I don't give a fuck, bro. I'm right too deep in this shit, bro. I already said a lot. I'm not going back, not deleting shit. But what I can say is the main topic is like, bro, 50, 100. The attackers always have a disadvantage. Remember, 50, 100. Depending how that game goes, it can go 150, 50, 100. Never above 100. Because now if it's 250, that's diabolical. Just quit the game. Just get on Fortnite because you're not going to win this game. And not even talking about like win-loss ratios of KD. It's just crazy. So it's never 250. It's always 50, 100, 150. They always share that half. But there's always a side of a team that always have that percentage at default. And I think I didn't get touched with Thunderbird. I kind of got off topic, but let me talk about it. Now, I feel like with Thunderbird, it's only because you're gonna have to be stationed. And her Kiba is not Kiba. That's bro. That's literally his army. her Akuna stations. You have to be stationed. You know, picture this: a solid stack. Cause y'all know people love to be like, well, be so literal. You have a solid stack. You have three other operators, but the two that you have is Denari and Thunderbird. With Denari, you can set up your best site ever. When I say site, I'm meaning his tripwires. You can set your best tripwires, and now what you do with Thunderbird, you set up those stations where you're watching the important pinpoints. The pinpoints, aka the gadgets. And I know people would be like, what does Thunderbird have to do with anything of this? Bro, what do you mean? Do you realize, I feel like I've said this plenty of times, like enough now. Like, bro, literally Rainbow Six Siege prepares us for the meta. Like, and I feel like it's a bad way to put it that way, but it's not even a bad way, but it's like, the game has its troubles. But literally the game prepares us for meta. It's like, look at when freaking, I can't even remember Arbor who came out and meta changed, But we have seen metas change based off operators, So it's like, you may think to yourself, if Siege knows, why do they keep doing it? Bro, they're preparing us for the meta, And you can't say any other game does that because they don't. So guess what? Shout out Siege, You could probably say, well, COD does meta weapons. Yes, but they don't prepare you. They break weapons just so you can use the weapons. They nerf the weapons and they recycle. My fault, COD. You know what I'm saying? With like, bro, like, be for real. But with Siege, they put you through hell. They put you through hell just so you can experience the real skill that an operator can truly have, and then they nerf them. And you may think, well, that doesn't mean anything. I can just, ban him or use the other operator. Bro, you have other operators. So if you ban one bad person, you're going to have to deal with another, like, 20 other people. Well, 19, no, how much they have? 20, 35, 25 people, operators, both sides. I don't remember. So it's like, you have to remember, you banning one broken operator won't change anything. So with that being said, when it comes to Denari, you may say, well, are you trying to say if you ban Denari, you can use Thunderbird? No. What I'm saying is, they can be a good duo. So that's all I'm saying. It could be a good duo, like Doc could go a long way, but like Doc has his own problems. He has to heal himself, he has to protect himself, and then he has to actually heal players that actually need to be healed. With Thunderbird, you put it down and that's it. It does the job for you, and it heals you all the way. So it's like, pairing it up with Denari is like I said, you can sit somewhere and just watch the lasers. You're not necessarily playing the site, but you're just watching, you're just watching over the lasers so they don't get messed with. That's it. And as Thunderbird, all you're doing is just keeping yourself at bay, keeping yourself alive, keeping yourself, I won't say mobile, but keeping yourself aware, because like I said, droning goes a long way, and it's already 50, 100. So if they're trying to drone you out, they're probably gonna get this map control and probably like drive you out. But yeah, it goes like that. I feel like I wanted to say more, but my mind is pretty. It's not foggy. It's just, I'm not gonna lie. Literally, after this video, I'm gonna probably record some more GP of this dude. He's pretty good, but I don't know. Probably my stream. I don't know. But if I stream, I can't clip. So I stream a little bit, then clip. But I don't know. But And there's a big thing too I want to talk about too. It's like, of course they're shootable. You know, it's like the main topic, not even topic. The main thing I want to make people understand is the fact that you don't have to play it on site. It's like you're already on site. Like, what difference does it make if you put Denari tripwires on site and then you just be like, okay, what now? Think about it. If you put them on site and you're moving while in sight, my guy, you're literally deactivating the tripwires. And you may think, what a big deal. It's it's not a big it's not a big deal, but it's a deal with. Does that make any sense? Like, it does sound cool when you say it out loud, but never mind. You know? So it's like, you're literally deactivating them when you walk through them. Bro, your best bet is just to put them off site. So if you put them off site, you have a better chance of roaming site way better and way fluently and just letting the operators, aka the attackers, walk through them off site, you know? Like, kapkan could go a long way. I get that, but it's like, bro, why just use it on site if you just play off site? That's the total opposite. You can do that. You could put trip mines on site and you play off site, but that goes not a long way when it comes to realize no one's in sight and then they can take sight. So it's like, don't do that. But really and truly, it's like, play them offside. It's not gonna hurt nobody. So just me seeing myself play them onside, it was kind of like cool enough to see how they would operate. But I would recommend play them offside. You know, probably have like, of course him, but like another person with you. Play offside. You know, put some wires down. Play offside. You know, and then cause think about it. Sight in itself already has traps, Malusis, legions, frost. You know, it has all these things. But remember now, the important thing about Siege is map control. And this operator, he screams map control. But, like always, have fun and GG.